Finding Langston, Chapter 4. The rain started right after lunch, and I was hoping I'd get to go on home without seeing Lyman and his crew after school. But from the classroom window, I can see them still waiting in the schoolyard. The three of them are standing around a boy, laughing. Lyman slaps the boy's lunch pail to the ground. They are keeping themselves busy till I come down. Everyone else has gone from their classroom, but I'm pretending to look for pencils in my desk. Can you help me carry these to my car? Miss Robbins asks, tying a rain scarf on her head. I nearly fall, rushing to help her. Parking lot is on the other side of the schoolyard. Thanks, hon, she says. When I load the box into the back seat of her Buick, I shut the door. Bye, Mrs. Robbins. I wave and walk quickly through puddles to the fence, where there is an opening, looking behind to make sure no one is following. I walk fast, turning right, right again, then left onto Michigan Avenue, and keep walking till I'm out of breath. My socks are soaked, though, and by the time I stop, nothing looks familiar. Scared, sweat prickles my skin. This neighborhood is quiet. The streets are wider with tall elm trees, like back home, running along the sidewalks, their branches stretching over me like umbrellas. Daddy walked me to school the first day, pointed to the streets I would pass: 45th, 46th, 47th. Just stay on this street and count up when you're going to school and down when you're coming home, and you'll be all right, he said. But this street looks nothing like my neighborhood. No stores and cartmen, just row after row of nice-looking houses with trees standing at the edges of sidewalks. Almost each one has swept stoops and windows with curtains that don't have signs that they say furnished apartments for rent. Standing on the corner across the street is a big white stone building with another building in the middle with the pointy top. Looks like a fancy building, but I'm thinking maybe someone there can point me to Wabash. I walk closer, and carved above the door is George Cleveland Hall, Branch, Chicago Public Library. Once, when Daddy let me go into town with him one Saturday to get supplies for our planting, we passed a building with a sign above the door that said library. I was just learning my letters and figured I knew just about every word ever invented, but that word I'd never seen. Daddy told me the word, but said it was a building for white folks, and that meant I couldn't go in. Didn't look like nothing to me but a small little house, painted bright white, two windows in front. Other than that, I would have passed on by not noticing. But back home, in the kitchen, I asked Mama if she knew anything about a library. Library is a place you borrow books, Mama said, sweeping the dirt out the kitchen door. What kind of books? I asked, following behind her. Any kind you want. Books with stories and pictures. About anything you can think of, I reckon. I remember thinking, a house just for books. You ever been inside a library? I asked. She laughed then. They don't let colored folks in libraries, baby. Now go fetch some eggs for your mama so I can start this cornbread. While I went to the coop to fetch the eggs, I thought to myself, any kind of books you want? I slowly walk up the steps to the big wooden door. A man brushes past, his arms filled with books, and I hold open the door and follow him inside. I stare up into a ceiling so big and bright, seem, seems like God Himself is looking down. Can I help you, young man? A woman asks. I can't find a way to make my mouth ask for directions to Waber Street, so I nod and walk along behind her into sunlight, into sunlit silence and shelves of books. I don't see any white folks, just all kinds of colored people. Some rushing past, bringing books in, some bringing books out, some working at the front desk. Every one of them look like they belong here. Back home, I read all the books in my class at school till I knew them by heart, Mom said once. They can't make books fast enough to keep up with your reading. Only time I ever heard Mama and Daddy fuss was about me. The boy's up under you too much, Daddy said. I wasted too much time reading when I should be outside playing and helping him round the house. Harry, let that boy be. Ain't nothing wrong with him spending time with his mama. Sitting in the house reading ain't gonna help him grow into a man, Tina. There's things a boy gotta learn. Reading is learning, Henry, Mama said, mad. That ain't the kind of learning I'm talking about. Seems Mama got tired of fighting after a while. So when I wasn't in school, Daddy kept me busy working alongside him, chopping firewood, clearing brush, fixing things round the house needed fixing. Working and sweating side by side, Daddy didn't say it, but I could feel his pride in me then. I walked behind the library lady. Floors looked like someone just finished polishing them. So shiny, I bet if I leaned down, it'd be like looking in a mirror. Can I help you find a book? She says, still walking, but looking back at me. I want to say no, ask for directions to get home, but I don't want to leave this quiet place. Again, my head nods. Yes, the lady starts walking farther into the library, and I keep following and let myself breathe in the library smells. Old paper, glue, and wood. Smells better than Mama's peach cobbler. Everything in here is so new. It makes my worn shoes look more worn. Looks like they could fit 5 of those little libraries from back home into this one room. I scuff downstairs and into a smaller room with round tables and shorter bookshelves. I walk over and run my hand along the bookcases, forgetting all about asking the way home. Can I read one? My voice sounds squeaky as a girl's. You can borrow any kind of book you want, she says, kindly. Just see the librarian at the desk. Any kind of book you want, I whisper to myself, and I take a few down from the shelf and pull a chair up to a table. I trace the letters in the covers of each and stop. One has my name. I pull it out and open to the first page. I pick up my life and take it with me, and I put it down in Chicago, Detroit, Buffalo, Scranton. Feels like reading words from my heart. I keep reading till I feel a tap on my shoulder. I can tell by the sun outside the rain stopped and it got late, and that means Daddy's already home and waiting. We are closing soon, so you'll need to make your selections, the library lady says. I tell her I got a little lost on the way over, and she shows me to the door and points. Walk down 2 blocks, she says, then turn left on Wabash, and you should be close to home. Thank you, ma'am. Hurry on home now, she says. I'm sure your mama will be waiting. My stomach tightens into a ball, but I run out the door and down the steps towards home.